A little while ago, a friend of mine, Sonia, sent me a post on Instagram, and the post said, and I paraphrase, "When they say photography is about technique, but you photograph based on feeling." And then she said that you are a person who can do both. And that's been stuck on my mind quite a while, and because for the longest of time I thought that technique and feeling were two separate things. That you master technique and then maybe at some point along the road you develop the intuition side. But I don't think that's how it works, at least not for me. And that's the reason why I want to take you along on a deep dive on a photo shoot that I did with Sonia not long ago. I think it was at the end of last year. I think it's the beginning of December, something like that. This will not be a tutorial or anything like that. I just want to talk a little bit about the photographs we took and how I feel that technique and feeling work together in the photo shoots that I do. This shoot happened on an overcast day, flat light, no drama, and I knew immediately that wasn't the feeling I wanted, because in my mind the images had sunshine coming through the blinds. I've been reading Gaston Bachelard, I'm sorry if I butchered the name, who was a French philosopher, and he wrote about how we don't just see spaces, we feel them. He talks about how light doesn't just illuminate a room, it inhabits it. It changes the emotional temperature of a space. I wanted this room to feel like a quiet morning, like the kind of light that makes you slow down, hold a warm cup in your hands and just be present. But the overcast sky wasn't giving me that, so I built it. I placed a lamp outside the window, set to tungsten light about 3200 Kelvin to mimic the feeling of early sun filtering through the blinds. This is what I mean when I say technique serves feeling. I didn't accept the light I was given. I understood what the moment needed to feel like, and I used my technical knowledge to create it. That's not cheating in my book. That's craft. Before I even touched my camera, I spent time just watching and talking with my subject, all the while watching how she moved in the space, where she naturally gravitated, how her body language shifted when she was by the window versus when she was on the couch. Bachelard writes about what he calls intimate immensity, the way small enclosed spaces can hold huge emotional depth. A room is not grand or dramatic or anything like that, but it can contain everything, like vulnerability and solitude. I wasn't trying to pose her into a feeling. I was waiting for the feeling to emerge and then respond to it. This is the part that technique can't teach you. You can know your exposure triangle perfectly, but if you're not present, if you're not reading the room and your subject, you'll miss the moment. Some of my favorite frames from this shoot are the ones where she forgot I was even there, where she was just existing in the light we'd created together. I want to pause here for a second because this is one of the hardest parts to explain. Once I felt the mood of the scene and space settle, the technical decisions became almost automatic, and it was not because I was not thinking, but I was thinking with the feeling and not against it. It's kind of like the technique became transparent and I just used that as the language to convey or save the feeling to a photograph, what I was sensing. Once I felt the mood settle, the technical decisions became intuitive. I knew I wanted a shallow depth of field to isolate her from the background, not because that's the rule of portraits, but because it creates intimacy. It draws you into the moment without distraction. I exposed for the highlights coming through the blinds, letting the shadows fall deep. Technically, that's underexposing for the scene, but emotionally, it felt right. It gave weight to the moment. And then there were moments like this, where I let her go almost completely into shadow. Bachelard talks about how shadows aren't emptiness, they are indeed presence. They hold something back, they ask you to lean in. For some of these I switched to black and white. Color was grounding us in the warmth of the morning. Black and white pulled us into something more timeless, more introspective. That wasn't a technical decision first, it was a feeling decision. The technique just followed. I didn't plan this before the shoot. It basically emerged because I was technically attentive enough to notice it and then emotionally curious enough to explore what it might mean. This is what I love about the relationship between technique and feeling. They're not opponents, they're collaborators. Technique gives you the language, feeling gives you something worth saying. So when my friend said I photograph with both technique and feeling, I think what she was noticing is this, that I don't treat them as separate. Technique isn't a box that I check before I'm allowed to feel something, and feeling isn't some mystical thing that happens despite technique. They work together. Technique is what lets me build the light that I'm imagining in my mind. Feeling is what tells me why that light matters. Bachelard wrote that a house isn't just walls and rooms, it's a space we inhabit with our whole being. And I think photography works the same way. We don't just capture light, we inhabit it, we feel it, and if we're lucky, we help someone else feel it too. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'd love to hear how you work through or balance these things in your own work, in your own photo shoots. So do drop a comment if you want to. I do read them all, and thank you for watching.